Hello and welcome to Let's Go Speaks. Today is Friday, December 27th, even though it feels like a Tuesday because Christmas is on Wednesday. It's all very confusing. And this is episode 262 of The Fat Squirrel Speaks. Do I normally say that? I'm Amy Beth, also known as The Fat Squirrel, and on Ravelry. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? And The Fat SQRRL on Instagram. Whew, it was like a surreal land. So this episode will have is a smaller episode. It's a smaller episode. I'm not wearing my nightgown, but I am wearing my long underwear. So you know, I'm easing back in to the work schedule. I totally had a sweater on earlier so that I wouldn't be wearing my long underwear, and I sat down in like 2 minutes into saying anything. I got so overheated that I had to take it off. So menopause, yo. It's a real thing. Okay. You know what else is real? Somebody sent me the Florida orange juice tea that I was talking about last time. So even though I'm going to do business in the front, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I'll say more thank yous later, but in case you're busy and you just want to see the beginning and the real stuff, just thank you. Okay, let's talk about crafting. So the first thing I've been working on is it's a Christmas quilt. I know it's December 27th and it's not anywhere near to be finished. It's not a whole quilt even. We have like a little end table between where my husband and I sit in the evenings. And right now there's totally a tea towel on it because we're super fancy. But before that, there was just a regular hand towel on it forever. And he the other day was like, by the other day I mean like 2 months ago, was like, wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have just this dingy details? I was like, yes, too bad nobody in this house knows how to sew anything and can like create something out of fabric. So still I have not done it. I did order the fabric straight away. I had plans right off. I was like, I am gonna get a Christmassy situation happening. We have a cloth over our coffee table because it's like painted. We painted it, and so I don't trust it at all to not just like, I don't know, just get disgusting looking instantly. And also I really do actually love fabric. Like I really love fabric. And so I like seeing it in my life a lot. So I was like, oh yes, I've actually for several years now wanted to do like a holiday tablecloth and then over the coffee table. Or it's kind of like a beefy runner because it's not like it like cover, like it doesn't hang down, but just like, you know, whatever. And then to also do the one for the side table. And I was like, oh, and I could quilt the one for the side table because that way it would be like a built-in coaster situation, which sounds great. I was like, oh, and then I could find some fun, silly Christmas fabric, and wouldn't that be good? So I went on a quest. I got the fabric. I thought, oh, I'll just whip that right up after, you know, like I have that break between my last update and Christmas, and I'll just like totally get right on that and do it right up. Yeah, it's still not. But I thought I'd just show you to you while we're here. So the big one is just going to be solid, but for the other one, I am not a quilter. Insert here. My mother and grandmother were both lovely, amazing quilters. Well, my mother's more of the quilter. My grandmother's more of the seamstress, but I am not. But I do love fabric, so what are you gonna do? So I decided that I would get this charm square pack, right? So they're 5-inch squares, and you get like 40 of them or something like that in most packs. And so what I did is that I sewed. Oh, I didn't have two to show you. So I like pretend this is 2 pieces face to face, right sides together. I sewed here and I sewed here. So basically I drew a line from point to point, and then I do a 1/4 inch seam on that line to either side, and then you trim them in half. So you have something that looks like this. Then you press it open. It looks like this. Then you cut this in half like this. By the way, if there's an easier way to do this, I totally believe there is, or is not. I don't even know. But if there is, you can totally put it in your comment on YouTube. I mean, I'm going to just keep doing it the way I'm doing it because, well, this part's almost done anyway. But somebody else might find it helpful, if that helps. whatever. So you cut this in half, so then you have things that look like this. And then you sew these things together. Bazam. And you get something that looks like this. Whoa, throwing things. So things that look like that. Or maybe they look like... I actually don't really like the Santa fabric. I wasn't even going to use it, but then I found out I had to. Because I didn't have enough of the other. Right. How cute is that? So then I'll sew those together to do like the table runnery, covery thing. And then I will quilt it on the sewing machine. And put a binding around it, and then that'll be done. And I'll show it to you hopefully next time. Whatever. I'm like, maybe I should invite people over New Year's till I'll like have a deadline to work to. Because otherwise I'm just like, I don't know. There's a lot of The Crown available to watch. In my long underwear. Why would I do that? Right. Anyway. So then I have... Is that really all the crafty non? Okay, so then I'll talk about crochet for a second. Oh my god, even though it's a different bag. Out of order! So last time I started to tell you about crochet, and something happened and the camera cut off, but then I thought it got everything, but then I realized when I was editing that it actually didn't show you all the squares I had completed. So I'll show you all the squares I have completed now. But I don't know which ones are from now and which ones are from then. Oh my lord, Gus, just stay over there in your corner, buddy. There's so much yarn for you to choose and chew and steal. Oh my goodness, right. Oh my gosh, it's just chaos in here. It's just absolute chaos. I decided to just put all of my projects into one bag, which sounds lovely because I want to work on them all, but then it also causes a bit of a conundrum when you're trying to find things. Everything's just like... Because it's not like it's 2 socks. There's like 40 balls of tiny yarn in there. Oh my goodness. Gracious. Sakes alive. So I am happy though. I got this crochet hook, which... Is this from Addie? I didn't even actually look at it. Oh no. It's called Prim. Is that right? P-R-Y-M. So this one is a G. I really am liking it quite a bit. I wasn't having a lot of trouble with the regular, like just boy, whatever, crochet hooks, the metal ones, but I didn't have a G and I felt like I actually needed to go down to a G, because like all things, my crocheting, okay, like my knitting, my crocheting is a bit loose in the gaugey area. This was not well planned at all. Okay, there we go. Oh no, I'm undoing something. Oh, I didn't cut the end. So I think I showed you this one, which was Hedgehog Merino, or was Hedgehog Skinny Singles. Isn't it cute? I also did this one with handspun held with a commercial. So this was some handspun that I had left over from a project. These are Bats by Knit Spin Farm. She is not an endorser. She's not a sponsor of the show. Oh my gosh, words. I just like her and her woolly things. So and then I had these little minis that I had purchased for my Advent socks, which I did not complete because they were too tiny for my giant feet. Only fault of my own. Not for having giant feet, for just not check, engage or anything like that, you know. So that's this one. Yay. So you can see a little bit of sparkle in there. And then the rest of them, well, that's not true. I have another one which I started. I have not gotten much further on, that I'm doing with striping. Where'd it go? I literally just had it. Oh, there it is. I was saving it for Gus for later. So I started this one, which was the handspun, and then I was alternating another color And then I think this next row I'm going to do even a different color that's warm and fuzzy. But also, can I just discuss? I kind of want a blanket of all the tiny ones, which is crazy. Isn't it cute? I love it. It's such a little Bobby. Anyway. And then the rest of them are from this skein of hand spun, which is like 1 ply of Three Waters Farm and 1 ply of something else, and they are lived together now forever. So this is an 8-ounce skein. One of them is attached, so I don't want to unravel it anymore. Goodness gracious. But like, these are all from the same skein, which is super fun because they all look quite different from one another. There's that one. And there's this one. And there's this. These are not in order, by the way. There's this one. There's this one. And then this one, which was done, but I forgot to trim the end. I didn't have scissors handy. Right. So that's very fun. I'm enjoying this crocheting thing. I think I'm going to try Tunisian crochet because I want to make some little dish scrubber things just with, by the way, somebody sent me some with the tulle netting and they're so cute. Thanks, Summer Peeper. They're so cute. But I also wanted to make some with some dishy because I have that stripy dishy, and I saw a pattern for them, but it uses Tunisian crochet, which is kind of like a crochet knitting hybrid. You use a crochet hook. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I really actually do not know what it is. But you use it's a crochet hook, like the head is a hook instead of a point like a knitting needle, but they're longer, or even some of them have like a jump cable where it's just like the cable from an interchange or from a circular needle, but it's just fixed on one end. Like it has I used to be able to buy those pretty frequently, like for blanket projects, even though they were knitting needles. You guys, do you remember this? I don't see them anymore. But anyway, did I put it in my library or in my queue? I don't know. But I kind of want to show it to you. Because I know some folks like to do at the beginning of the year different challenges for themselves, and maybe moving away from the green and yellow sponge is one of yours. Although I do like that one that's like pecan. I don't even know what it is, but it's brown and it's not plastic. So this one is also a nubby scrubby. How cute is that one? So this is the one that uses the Tunisian crochet, which I want to do. I think that'll be fun. Yee. So I have so many scrubbies. It's wonderful. That's other crochet. I like torn the entire bag apart, so I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Okay, so I did finish my Knit Spin Farm Bat Vent Spin. How Christmassy is that? Oh, I'm so excited about it. Oh, look at it. So for 24 days, December 1st through 24th, you had a little mini bat. So it's just like a strip of a bat I showed you last time. And I spun mine. There was 3 days that I did not spin it on the day I opened it. But other than that, I spun every day, which was really enjoyable. Yay, spinning. By the way, last time I said that my e-spinner was acting funky. So Hanson sent me a new, like, if you know the Hanson mini spinner, it has like a little dial where you turn up the speed, and that's where also the like jack is to put in the pedal. So they sent me a new one of those. It's like a circuit board that, anyway, it was very easy to change out, and it seems like it's working okay now. But, so I spun part of this, that was all to say that I spun part of this on my mini spinner and part of it on my Ladybug. And then I chain plied it on my mini spinner. Now, I don't really love to chain ply on my mini spinner because I feel like chain plying, I enjoy chain plying quite a bit, but it seems like when something goes wrong with chain plying, it happens really fast. And basically what chain playing is that you're taking one strand of single, so one strand of fiber, and you actually are kind of doing like a big crochet with it, but you're triple, so you make it into a triple strand. So there are actually 3 strands of it triples up the fiber, the single. And then you twist those together. And it's just one of those things where it's like you're kind of making big motions. You don't have to, you can make them smaller, but I tend to be making big motions, and then like if a single breaks or something, like everything happens very quickly. So I have a little bit, in my head, I have more control over the pedal wheel. Sorry, the train is really yelling. Over like the manual wheel. But I did want to spin it on the mini spinner because I was like, I would just like to put it all in one strand in a, one piece, and I can do that because it was about 6 ounces. I knew my bobbin from my ladybug would not hold that much. So because what I would do is just, I had them on 2 separate bobbins because of the issue I had with my mini spinner, but I just spliced them together when it came time so that they would have just one continuous strand. I feel like I'm talking a lot. But so I did spin it on that, and it went really well. I have a tendency to underply on the mini spinner, but this I think went well. If anything, it's maybe just slightly more tightly plied, but not to the point where I'm upset about it, because I actually kind of like the way the single, like I like the way the yarn looks when it's just slightly overplied, but it's not like it's being wonky or anything. It's not doing a lot of action spinning. And it's just so fun. Right? I would be so intimidated to try to put together 24 bats that would like work together in a fun way at the end. And Joanna did a marvelous job. Also, so I told you there are like little goodies throughout. The last goodie was, I thought I brought it over here. Because I had it in my project bag, but then I had the great emptying of the bag. There we are. She made these little balsam pillows, and I cannot believe that I have not done this before. You can either just, collect balsam and dry it, or you can actually purchase it online, and it's so nice. Like, I totally want to be a Victorian, probably be pre-Victorians, wouldn't it? Yeah, pre-Victorians. Anyway, I want to just carry one as like a little aromatic thing when I get stressed out, and I can sniff it like I'm Molly Shannon. It's so nice. But I'm like, why didn't I think to do this for like Christmas bags in the past? It would have been so cute instead of lavender to do a little piney one. So pleasant. Enjoyable. So yeah, I really liked it, and it was super fun. And now I have this awesome skein of yarn. Oh, I didn't put my tag on it yet, but I do have like 400 yards out of 6 ounces, which is really good for me, in terms of, especially for a 3-ply. So yay that. Look at it, it's like the most delicious candy cane ever. I didn't really bite it because it's delicious, but just how I did that. But isn't it cute? So I don't know, I think maybe it might be a hitchhiker. So cute though. I want to keep the, it's chain plying, so the colors will block out when it's knit. And that's a pretty good one. It's a shortish, but maybe a foolproof would also be good, like the cowl. I don't know, I can't tell. So cute. Oh my gosh, it'd be so cute to make a Christmas sweater and make this the yoke of it. Oh, wouldn't that be darling? And it could just be a winter sweater. So then I'm also spinning on a patchwork kit that I got from Hello Yarn. I just thought I would show it to you. So it's just like a pound of bits and bobs. And so this, right now I'm working on this green. I just drew it blind, but isn't it the most beautiful? Oh, I really love it. enjoying it so much. So that is what I am working on. Okay, knitting. So I won't show you these again after this because I'm like onto the toe. I probably will show you. Let's not pretend. I am awful. I don't have any finished objects, but I should have brought that down. I did work some more on Tova's shawl, but I'll show it to you next time. It's upstairs in my room, and I'm quite frankly too lazy to go get it. These are my Christmas socks. As you notice, it's after Christmas, and they're not done yet. Surprise. It's from West Yorkshire Spinners. Isn't it super cute? But look, I'm almost done. I have like 2 more stripes and I'm working the toe. Please, I'll totally show them to you next time. I'll totally want to count them as an FO is what I mean. But aren't they sweet? Enjoying them so much. So much that when I got my new crochet hook, I had to buy a ball of opal because I'm enjoying this commercial sock yarn so much. Really? Like, because I definitely don't have any opal in my house at all. So I definitely needed, whatever. Okay, and so the last thing I have to show you is a new project. I have been working on a DK, well, okay, I've not been working on it religiously, but I have other sweaters on the needles, but I've been having a lot of like temperature fluctuation issues lately. And so the most recent thing I had to work on was a pullover in DK. And even though it was a beautiful pattern by Knitting Expat, I wanted to cast on a fingering weight sweater. And I was kind of like waffling on which one I wanted to do. And then the beautiful ladies at Espace Tricot sent me some Brooklyn tweed loft. Yes, loft. Fingering weight. And it's in my favorite color, which is Hayloft. What? Ah! So aren't they the kindest ladies ever? They're such a joy to meet. And they're definitely of those people that when you meet them, you just, they have such good energy. So, and a beautifully curated shop available online. I've not been in person, but maybe one day. I'm just saying. I'll be fancy. So I kind of waffled back and forth. I really was, I've had the Woolen Honey sweater in my queue for ages, and I really was so tempted to try to do that one. But again, I thought, you know what? I should be responsible. I should knit myself a cardigan because I love a couple of recent cardigans that I've made, and I wear them all the time. And again, when you're having like some temperature regulation issues, cardigans are such a treat because you can just easily open them or take them off versus a pullover, which is a little bit more, it's a little bit less cooperative. So I thought, I'm not sure. And also the Woolen Honey has big floats. And so I thought, maybe I am kind of a beast. Like I'm not always aware of where my body sits in space or in relation to other things. And so I could just see myself like knitting this amazingly beautiful sweater. And then like the day after I complete it, wearing it and like refilling a bird feeder and like catching it on a hook and ripping a giant piece. So I was like, maybe I should knit that one that has like, again, floats that are easily caught on things. Maybe I should knit that one in like a 4-ply. If you're not familiar with Brooklyn Tweed's loft or shelter, they are woolen spun. I believe they're both 2-ply, right? But certainly this one is a 2-ply. And they're gorgeous, and I love to knit with them. But they are... when they are not knit, they're not as strong. Like you can pull the strand apart relatively easily, which is fine because just like a Lopi, once you knit it, it gains a lot more strength. But again, with those floats being so long, I was afraid that because I'm a beast, I would tear it up. And then also, again, it just made more sense to knit a cardigan. So that's still in my queue. But I decided instead to go with this cardigan, the Sammal cardigan by Joji Locatelli. Isn't she the loveliest? It is sized, let's see, has a good range. It's sized bust circumference 29.5 to 56 3/4 inches. And I don't see her ease, but I mean, I'm sure it's 0 or, you know, it's got not a lot of positive ease. So I am knitting that. Here's my gauge swatch. I'm so in heart with it. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, right. Look at that texture. Now, my gauge swatch is smaller. I think the suggested gauge is 20.5 stitches to 4 inches, and mine is 22 inches to 4 inches. But as we all know, gauge swatch lies. That's just the truth of it. I mean, I'm sorry, gauge swatch, but you're a liar, and you lie. But what I did is I used that to inform, like, okay, do I like this fabric? This is knit on US 1.5s. Do I like this fabric? You know, do I like the way it drapes? Do I like the movement of it? And then to kind of use it as a starting point for choosing which size. So basically, this is going to knit to about 93% of the pattern size. So it's not hugely different, but it is significantly different. So instead of casting on, for example, I'm a 46-inch upper bust. Probably still. I don't know. Oh, here it is. 1 to 2 inches of positive ease. So I'm a 46-inch upper bust, but to get the size that's closest to me, I'm actually going to be knitting the 52 3/4, which is 49 inches. The 49 1/4 was like slightly less than 46 inches. So, you know, it changes as a little bit. It's not huge. And then I will kind of use, you know, my progress after I get about halfway through the yoke. I'll use that to better inform what size I should make it ultimately. Here it is so far. Did I tell you I was knitting it on US 1.5s? Okay, I have to take off my socks. I'm so hot. I'm knitting it on US 1.5s, right? That's kind of ridiculous. I am a 56+ inch sweater maker. And it's all textured, but at the same time, I'm so far, I'm really enjoying it. I am in the middle of a row because A, I'm not good at podcasting, but B, it's got short row shaping, so I had to be in the middle of a row. So here's the back. Gosh, it looks so tiny. Here's the back. It smells so good because it's been in with my balsam pillow. Right. Are you in love with it? I'm super in love with it. So pretty. So again, I wanted it to be a slightly firm gauge because quite frankly, I'm just liking how my sweaters wear and feel when they're a slightly firm gauge. Like my after party is actually it's knit. It's a fingering weight pattern, but I knit it with sport weight. And it's a woolen spun, so it has a lot of, you know, it grabs onto each other, the neighboring strands quite nicely. And I just am enjoying like that and how that fits. So I'm on a US 1.5 now. I may go to a 2 at some point. Like again, when I get to like halfway to through the yoke, I may reevaluate and go to a 2. And if I do that, I'll probably knit like 1 row and a 2, and then give it 2 rows and a 1.5. And so I'll kind of gradually introduce in. But really my gauge between one needle and the next is not hugely different. But it is noticeable to me. So I'll kind of just gradually introduce it. But yeah, right now I'm super in love with it. And let me just discuss, part of me is hesitant to do textured patterns because you have to think more. I admit it. And I think a lot about other things. I don't always want to think about my knitting. But so far, this pattern is very well written. Now, I would expect nothing less from Joji. But I'm still surprised at how smoothly it's going. Because, you know, you have some raglan increases with some kind of nubbly-ish stitching. Sort of seed stitch-esque. And so that could, you know, if it was not well set up, could be very confusing of like, wait, which row am I on now in this texture pattern? But it's written so nicely and it's just easy to follow along with so far. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm sorry, I just keep looking at it because it's just super gorgeous to me. Right. So now for just like chitty chat stuff. Oh my gosh, right? Since we talked, so much has happened, which is why I wanted to record, even though it's not normally the time I would record. But one thing I did want to say before I get into other stuff is that thank you so much for all of your beautiful compliments and your positive energy. I mean, you guys are just so generous with your kind words. I could not believe how many wonderful responses I got to last time's podcast. So thank you so much. Then I also want to say, in the interest of, hey, hush. In the interest of presenting myself as a full and complicated and messy human, you know, because this is the time of year, right, where that like comparison really gets so easy to compare yourself to somebody else's holiday picture, right? Like somebody else's very well cropped Instagram life compared to your crazy wackadoodle life. But so in that interest of like zoning out of the of kind of like uncropping the photo is that yes, I do have times of like deep empathy where I feel deeply for other people. And then I also have times where I want to like throttle people in the grocery store. And I'm not saying that for you to be like, oh, that's okay. That's how we all feel sometimes. I know that. I know that's how we all feel sometimes. But I just want to confess that that's how I feel sometimes too. And that like, I almost got into like, I did not get into fisticuffs with an old white man at the grocery store the other day, but in my head I sure did. Did I get irrationally angry at my daughter for not smiling in the Christmas photograph? Yes, I did. It wasn't even like a photographer, like we paid a photographer. It was just like my husband, my child, and I standing in front of a Christmas tree and somebody taking a picture of us. But in my head, I had like all added up the stuff of like me being potentially sick and then like, you know, me being a fat person and like, you know, women in general not wanting to be in photographs because we don't like how we look in photographs. And like, I had like all that coming into it and she did not. So she did not understand that it was very important to me that she try to smile and put her, you know, like look like she was not 13 and ready to just jump off a cliff because she hates us all so much. She doesn't really, but like that was the image she presented and I just like got very frustrated. So again, that's in no way to say that like I'm not looking for like I just want you to know that like I am curating what I show you and like what I talk about and like there is other part of me that's crazier than this even. And that again, it gets irrationally angry at the grocery store and yells at my husband for going too fast and you know, all of those things. I just feel like I need to confess so that you know. I'm messy too, yo. Messy. But that is all to say that I went in for my colonoscopy and like everything's okay. Yeah, like I was fully expecting my colonoscopy was on the 23rd. Well, I had an endoscopy, like a upper GI as well. Excuse me. So I went in on the 23rd. So in my head, I was going to have like at least a week or 2 weeks, maybe even before I got results. Because I thought for sure, like they'll have to, you know, take something for biopsy and what have you. No. The doctor just came back to me afterwards and was like, yeah, no, everything's fine. And I was like, wait, what? You didn't have to send anything anywhere? He's like, no, everything looks great. You're fine. And I was like, he's like, your pancreas is a little, I have a fatty pancreas apparently. Surprise! He didn't even really say that. He just said it was brighter pink and it had fatty inclusions. I have a fat pancreas. Wouldn't it be weird if my pancreas wasn't fat? That's what would be weird. Anyway. But he said everything else looked fine. Now, I will completely confess to you that anxiety brain was literally like, he's just not telling me because it's almost Christmas and I have a teenage daughter and he wants me to have a nice time with my family and then they're going to tell me bad news. Like, that's not even legal. Anxiety brain also, because when he was asking me, like, because they have to do that whole verification, like, why are you here, blah, 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 right before the procedure. And he was like, well, I mean, I would expect it just to be an ovarian cancer, even. And I was like, even though it has GI markers? He was like, yeah, it's probably still just ovarian. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what's going on anymore. But then part of me was like, oh my gosh, he probably just didn't even do it. He just like they just wheeled me into that room and put me to sleep, and then all just had coffee and cookies. Like, they probably didn't even do it. Anxiety brain is so weird. She's a mess. I'm not a mess. She's a mess. But she is fully a mess, yo. But so I won't go for another 2.5 weeks for my gynecological oncologist. So she's kind of like the orchestrator now. I won't go to her for a few more weeks so that's when I'll get, I'm sure, like the definitive yay or what's going on. But from what I understand and from our last meeting, if both my CT and these lower GI things came back clear, I would be in an observation only path. So, right. Yeah, crazy, right? So that's hopefully very good news. I don't want to pin all my hopes on it, but I think it's going to be good news. So, yay, thank you so much for all your positive energy. I told my husband afterward, I felt kind of like I cried wolf, and he's like, what is wrong with you? I did not. I mean, like, it was hard to do a podcast because this stuff was like taking up such a huge amount of my brain space. So, like, when I first found out, I thought, I just won't tell anybody until I know for sure what's going on. And then that time frame looked like it was going to be more than like a few months. And I was just like, I can't take it. I got to tell somebody. But yeah, it was totally not bad. And oh my gosh, by the way. Okay, so like, if you don't want to hear about colonoscopies, I'm not going to give you like graphic information. But if you don't want to hear about it, like, I'll talk to you next time. Hi, that was totally not a big deal at all. Right? Now, I will say that I planned better. So for my test, my test was on a Monday at like noon, a little bit after noon. And I had to be on clear fluids all day Sunday. And in the evening on Sunday, I took the bowel prep. And like everybody, like there's like a lot of different preps, right? Like this is the one I took. Your results may vary. So I took mine Sunday evening, and I took it again very early Monday morning. And when I took it early Monday morning, I was allowed to have fluids up to like 4 glasses of fluid within 2 hours, so that I had like at least 4 hours before my test I would have anything to drink or eat, obviously. So like I also had a similar thing. It was different, but similar before my actual hysterectomy. Where I was on clear fluids only the day before, but I planned so much better that day. That day we went to IKEA, we got furniture that we had to put together. I was busy all day until about the time I had to take it was a different prep. And so like I didn't really even get, like I'm a person that I think because I have reserves that my body can work off of, if I'm busy, I don't get hungry. Like I don't notice that I'm hungry as long as I'm engaged and busy with something, usually. Like I don't typically have a problem. But this time, it was a Sunday and I did not plan anything for the day before because it was so close to the holiday. And it was also Toba's birthday. But I didn't plan well, and so I did not have stuff to keep me occupied. I planned on working on this quilt, which obviously I did not work on that all day. Okay. And so I was super hungry. I was literally like, oh, I want a sandwich so bad. But other than that, it was no big deal. Like my husband had a colonoscopy, I want to say like 2 years ago. He actually had 2 within the same year. And because they had to remove polyps and things like that. And he was miserable when he did his prep. Like, it gave him gas and cramps. I don't know if it was just like a different prep that I had or what, but I did not have any problem at all. Like, none. Somebody was a brilliant, lovely human being, and she was like, I'm a colonoscopy expert. This is how you drink this stuff. Because the stuff that you have to drink is not particularly pleasant. But the one I had, which was called Klimpic, was just a 5.3 ounce bottle of the gross stuff. And then the next morning, a same 5.3 ounces. And she gave me this whole regimen of like how she approaches it to get. And so that was so helpful. I did not go through her complete regimen. But the idea of like holding my nose and not letting my nose go until I had drank all of that stuff and rinsed, and I'm not gonna lie, I also brushed my teeth before I let my nose go, was brilliant. Because it tasted horribly sweet, but that was it. But I know that it did not just taste sweet, because after I let my nose go and then could kind of taste a little bit still in my mouth, it was not pleasant. But that worked a dream. Now, some people they can't drink a lot of it at once because it makes them nauseous, so that would be a problem, obviously. But I was super lucky in that it was very easy-ish to drink. So yeah, I mean, that was all to say that it wasn't as bad as I really thought it would be at all. And again, obviously, your results will vary. I mean, my husband had one done and he did have discomfort and was not a happy camper about it. And I don't know that I would say I was a happy camper about it, but it was not as bad as I had feared it would be. So yeah. Pretty much. I would say, like, if I have to have them frequently because of, like, maybe I have a higher chance of colorectal cancer, that I'm not going to dread that if I have to do that. Because that was part of it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm only 40 and I have to go. I'm 41, almost 42. I'm going to have to go and have these done. In my head, nobody's told me this. I'm going to have to go and have these done every year for the rest of my life. It wasn't that bad. So, anyway. Although I will tell you, like, I do believe that you should psych yourself up and make yourself think it's going to be worse than it is. Because then I think it is always better to be pleasantly surprised. It's like the first tattoo I had did not really hurt because I was afraid it was going to hurt so bad. But then the second tattoo I had totally hurt way more because I had just been all lax. Like, oh, I don't need to psych myself up. It's going to be fine. And then I was like, ha! So, I'm just saying. Think it's going to be bad enough that it's bad, but not so bad that you won't go, so then that you will be hopefully pleasantly surprised when it's on that bed. That's my advice. It's my non-medical advice. Anyway, I hope you have a happy new year. Oh my gosh, because that is right around ye oldie corner, people. It's almost 2020. But I'll see you there. I'll talk to you next time.